Good morning, class. Today we're looking at Chapter 6, Lesson 5, Circumference and Area of a Circle. So, if you know how to find the circumference of a circle, you can find how far you must travel to move all the way around the circle. So, in this picture, the Sacagawea dollar rolls along a surface. The distance that the dollar rolls is the same distance around the edge. So this distance right here. So same distance around the edge of the dollar. The distance is the coin's circumference. Circumference is the distance around a circle. Please write that down. Circumference is the distance around a circle. Diameter is a segment that passes through the center of the circle and has both endpoints on the circle. Let's write that down. So the diameter is a segment that passes through the center of the circle with endpoints on the circle. If you look down below here, this is an example of the radius. Passes through the center, here's the center, with the segment endpoints on the circle, right there. A radius is the segment that connects the center of the circle to the circle. So the radius is a segment that connects the center of the circle to the circle. So here's the center of the circle. This blue line is the radius, connects it to the circle. Okay, so be able to identify both the diameter is twice the radius and the radius. Okay, so pi. This is the symbol pi, or this is pi, and the symbol for pi is this. Two lines with kind of a little twirly on top. In the book it looks a little bit more like this. I'll try to be fancy like theirs. Something like that. So that's pi. Pi is the ratio of a circle's circumference. C is for circumference, to its diameter. Okay, so let's write that down. So pi is the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. That means if we know the diameter, we can figure out the circumference. So the circumference of a circle is pi equals the circumference divided by the diameter. The formula for the circumference comes from this ratio. So, therefore, we could say that the circumference equals pi times the diameter. Or if you only know the radius, then it's going to be the circumference equals 2 times pi r times the radius. Okay, these are the things that you need to know. Oops, wrong thing. To be able to solve. However, you also need to be aware of what pi is. Pi is a non-terminating and non-repeating decimal. So you could either represent pi, so pi equals 22/7, or more frequently used, 3.14. Okay, so anytime you see pi, just think it equals 3.14. So in an example, well, let's just jump right into it and then you'll see. So find the circumference of a circle, and then see in my notes I put use 3.14 for pi. So we know the diameter. So the circumference equals pi, 3.14, times the diameter. So we just need to go 13 times 3.14, and that equals 40.82. Okay, so that is the circumference. We can round it to 40.8, and this was meters. So the next one, we only know the radius. So we can go circumference equals 2, because right, the radius is half the diameter. So 2 times 3.14 times 5. So if we do that, we get 31.4 feet. You can use your calculator. There is a pi button on many of the calculators. So if you were going to be doing that, you would have C equals 2 times the radius is 5 times pi. And when you type that into the calculator, it would most likely give you 1.41592654, right? So it's the same thing as if you just use 3.14 and then you just round to the tenths place. Okay? Okay, you try this next one. Pause the video, try it out, come back to me when you're done. Okay, so you should have got the circumference equals 28.3 meters. So now let's look at the area. So that's the circumference, and now we're going to look at the area of a circle. So if you were to cut a circle into equal sectors and place them side by side, you would make a shape that is close to a parallelogram, right? Parallel on both sides. The length of the base of the parallelogram is half the circumference of the circle. So 2 pi r divided by 2, or pi r. The height of the parallelogram is r. So the area of the parallelogram is pi r times r, or pi r squared. So the area of the circle is pi r squared. The area of the circle is the, let's fill this in, is the product, which means the multiplication, oh dear, of pi and the square of the radius. Ooh, sorry, that's kind of popping out. The area of the circle is the product of pi and the square of the radius. So write it as area equals pi r squared. So that means we'll always need to know the radius. And so if they only give you the diameter, you're going to have to find the radius by dividing the diameter by 2. So let's jump in and try one out. Finding the area of a circle. A standard circus ring has a diameter of 13 meters. What is the area of the ring around to round to the nearest tenth. So this is the diameter, and we need to know the radius. So if the diameter equals 13, we need to divide it by 2 to get the radius. So 13 divided by 2 is going to equal 6.5. So the radius equals 6.5. So the area, right, the area equals pi r squared. We're now going to just fill that in. So this radius is going to equal 6.5, and we want to square that and multiply it by 3.14, which is pi. So 6.5 times 6.5 is 42.25. Multiply that by 3.14, or pi, and that's going to give us 132, and it's 0.665. So we're going to round because it said to round to the nearest tenth. So we want to round here. The 6 makes it go up. So the area equals 132.7. And then because it is area, we want to add in meters squared. Area always equals the meters squared. Okay, so see if you can try this next one on your own. You do not have to find the radius because they already gave you the radius. Press pause, come back to me when you're done. Okay, so you should have got 452.2 meters squared. So now we're looking at how to identify the different parts. So identify the radius, the diameter, and the circumference. So things we know that the radius is half the diameter. So looking at number 1, the radius is going to equal 1, and the diameter equals 2, because that's twice as big as the radius. So that has to be the diameter, and therefore the diameter is 2, the circumference 2 times pi. So the circumference equals 2 pi. Okay, so this next one, the radius is going to be 2. The diameter is twice as big, so that's 4. And the circumference equals 4 pi. See if you can figure out the next 2 on your own. Come back to me when you're done. Okay, you should have got the following: radius 3.5, diameter 2, circumference 22. The radius for the number 4 is 1 over pi, diameter equals 2 over pi, and circumference equals 2. I didn't actually solve any of them to double check the circumference, but if I could verify and understand and know what the radius and diameter are, process of elimination would leave it the others are the circumference. So your homework for today is page 240 through 241, numbers 7 through 17 odd. Happy homeworking!